Hello, welcome. This is going to be a different video. It's the start of a series that I'm very excited to make. So over the last, I don't know, few weeks anyway, I've really gotten into the Warriors in Middle-earth expansion, and I actually really like it now. I think it's my favorite way to play now. It's with Lords and Warriors, and once it comes out, maybe Kings will also be a fantastic addition. But anyway, so I want to do a little series introducing the Warriors in Middle-earth expansion. So the heart of the Warriors expansion is, I think, again, this is conjecture anyway, but I think they saw that a Shadow Player military rush was the usual way forward. And even after the Lords of Middle-earth expansion, it was still the usual way forward. So the factions mainly are really good at helping the Free Peoples defend. So if you're really bored of the same old sprints, I highly, highly recommend this. It adds a lot of defensive power for the Free Peoples. So it makes corruption plays more worthwhile for the Shadow Player because it's more likely to be important, and it also makes, more interesting and dynamic military situations because just more stuff is happening. So anyway, if you're bored of the sprint, I highly recommend it. So this is going to be like my Learning Lords of Middle-earth series, just a few short videos. Well, a few. I don't know how many videos I'm going to make anyway, but I'm going to make a series of short videos, so it's very easy to consume, little bite-sized pieces anyway. So the first thing I want to address after introducing that main core mechanic is how big these hands are. Because I remember this felt really overwhelming the first time I loaded it up. Like, why do I already have 6 cards in my hand before I even view it? And then as soon as I've drawn a couple cards, now there's 8. And there's also this whole other deck. Look, there's this faction deck down here. And there's this faction deck over here. Both sides get an entire new deck that you draw a card from at the start of every turn. So it does feel like a lot at the start, and there's also these 6 new factions. Each side get 3, and you need to remember a bunch of different rules and cards about them. But you don't really need to remember them, right? Like you do if you want to master it and get really good at it. But at the same time, you could just start playing and have fun and see what happens. Like, do you remember the first time you played the base game and Dead Men of Dunharrow happened and it blew up an army and you were like, what the heck was that? Or the Ents happened and they killed Saruman and it's like, what the heck was that? So anyway, I'd encourage you, have fun with it. Just see what these cards are like. So anyway, as I go through the videos, I think each faction will probably get their own video. Unless they're really short, maybe I'll do 2 factions per video. So I just wanted to introduce it. So the starting board is still the same. None of the factions are in play when you start. But as the game goes on, different things will happen. And that will make it able to bring a faction into play. So let's just, roll the dice and see what happens for turn 1. Okay, so that's that roll. That's that roll. These don't really help for that. Okay, well, I put Naria's guide for this anyway, so I'll roll his die too and hope it's an eye. There we go. It was an eye, so now we have an eye. So we'll say the Fellowship moved, and we'll say they got hit, and it's a reveal. As soon as the Fellowship's revealed, that's a condition where now a couple factions could come into play. So I could now use a muster die to bring in the Eagles. So the Eagles start with 2 right here in the Eyrie, and now I have this die in play. So this is the last basic part of the game that I want to explain, is that this die is in play. It has just a few symbols on it. There's this sunshine symbol. That's the recruit symbol. So recruit, just if a faction's in play, you add 1 more to its existence. The Shadow Player similarly has this. This is their faction die. It has an eye on it, so that's another different symbol. That little triangle, though, that's their recruit symbol. So same thing. If one of theirs is in play, say we've got the Corsairs in play down here in Umbar, then recruit, add 1 more boat to the fleet there in Umbar. Great. Or it'll have a card with arrow pointing down. That means you could play a faction card from your hand. Or it will have just 2 cards. Let's roll it again a couple times. Just till we get there. Oh, that was the wild card symbol. Oh, yeah. And then there's one that's just 2 cards like that. That means draw a faction card. So similarly, this one, it has recruit. And it has, there's the arrow coming down. So that means play a card. And now it's play a card or draw a card is what that one means. So the dice are fairly straightforward anyway. So explaining these cards here, sorry, that's the other why the hand is so big. Anyway, is these are the call to battle cards. Each faction has 2, right? So each side has 3 factions, and each faction has 2 cards. So that's why you have these 6 cards here. These are all cards that you can play as combat cards at the start of a battle if a faction is close enough. So for the Shadow Player, I think they all need to be with the army as the battle's happening. So there's Dunlendings, then there's Spiders, and there are Corsairs. For the Free Peoples, there's Ents, and there's Eagles, and Sorry. And there's dead men. So if they're close enough, then you can play this. So for the dead men, if the dead is in the same region as or in a region adjacent to the defending army. So once the dead men are in play, then you can play these cards to defend Dol Amroth. And they can be pretty powerful. So anyway, that is my very short, this is the basics of, how Warriors works. If you want to learn more, please tune in. I'll be doing more videos explaining how they work in a little more detail. And should be fun. See you next time.